All pretty easy, I think, a lot in the tail, whatever. Yeah, he's
We're going to go ahead and call the Schaumburg Village Board meeting to order for Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. Thank you all very much for being here. First thing I want to mention is please turn off your cell phones or any other electronic devices that make noise. We would appreciate that. Next item is the roll call. If the clerk would please call the roll. Thank you.
Trustee Kozak?
here.
Trustee Clare?
Present.
Trustee Sullivan absent. Trustee Dunham?
Here.
Trustee Madej?
Present.
Trustee Bishke?
Present.
President Daly?
Present. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to impose upon Trustee George Dunham, if he wouldn't mind.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Next item is the approval of minutes from August 24th, 2021. Seems like a long time ago. Any questions, comments?
Move to
Someone's
approve as
phone.
presented.
Please turn your phone off. Thank you.
Move to approve as
We have a
presented.
motion and a second to approve the minutes from August 24th. Will the clerk,
It's okay to do voice.
yes, don't have to do that anymore. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All ayes, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the approval of expenditures for $7,131,052.67. Any questions, comments?
Move to approve the expenditures as presented.
Second.
There's a motion, and we'll take Trustee Madej for a second to approve the expenditures as presented. Any further conversation? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
Trustee Clare?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan absent. Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Madej?
Aye.
Trustee Bishke?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is a presentation. We have a presentation of Illinois employer support of the Garden Reserve as one of Illinois' outstanding employers to the Village of Schaumburg by Ann Everhart, Director of Human Services. Hi, Ann.
Good evening. On August 20th, I was pleased to represent the village at the virtual awards ceremony conducted by the Illinois Employer Support of the Garden Reserve, ESGR. ESGR is a Department of Defense office with 54 committees in 50 states and 4 territories. The evening was a celebration of the civilian employers who help members of the Garden Reserve balance their military commitment with their civilian employment. The ESGR calls it the three-legged stool that is required for service members to be successful: Guard leadership, support of family, and support of the employer. The village was honored to receive the Above and Beyond Award. This award is presented by the ESGR state committees to recognize employers at the local level who have gone above and beyond the legal requirements of the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act by providing their Guard and Reserve employees additional non-mandated benefits such as differential or full pay to offset lost wages, extended health benefits, and other similar benefits. The awards given in limited numbers by the state committees to employers who have had at least one of their supervisors nominated for the Patriot Award and who have signed an ESGR statement of support, which we did in May. The village was nominated for this award by Bill Sadlick, who by day is our IT network administrator, and he is also a chief warrant officer for the Army National Guard. Bill had previously nominated his supervisors, Peter Schack and Chris Westcore, for the Patriot Award. We thank Bill for this gracious nomination and ESGR for the honor. We are so proud of him and all of our employees who are active in the Garden Reserve. We appreciate their service as well as those of our military veterans. I'd like to present you with the award.
May I take another look at it? I don't think they've had a chance to see it, so very nice award. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next item is liquor license requests. We have a request from Mr. Cal Patel for one Class B liquor license for Brothers Liquors located at 1722 West Wise Road. New owner, are you here? Great, please come up here if you wouldn't mind and sign in.
We did.
Good evening.
Oh, you did already?
Yes.
Okay, great. Ahead of the game. So you're a new owner. This is an existing location?
Correct.
Okay. Any changes or in particular plan for the location?
We're planning to actually make it, obviously renovate the whole property, and then that was the first thing in place.
Okay.
And then, of course, that's the plan. And hopefully it picks up and does what it's supposed to do.
Okay, so it was an existing liquor store and you're just maintaining it as a...
We're basically taking over the lease and basically renovating the property and then starting it up from scratch.
Okay, all right. Questions, comments from the board? Yes, trustee Madey.
Are you buying out the inventory from the?
There's no inventory. Actually, it's closed down store.
Okay,
So that's what we're trying to renovate in that location.
okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So after this, you would need to apply for the license at the Liquor Commissioner's office, which is the mayor's office upstairs, during normal business hours.
Okay.
In the morning from 9 to 5. Once you do that and go through the background check, and that liquor license will be issued.
Okay,
So thank you very much.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Next item is consent agenda. Consent agenda will be read in its entirety, voted on as one motion to approve. If you wish to discuss any items further, please indicate that when the item is read by the village clerk so that it can be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further under committee reports. Otherwise, all items will be approved as presented on the consent agenda in one motion to approve. And I'd like to ask the village clerk to please read the consent agenda. Thank you.
Number 1, correspondence. A, the motion would be to approve the request from Northern Illinois University MPA program to hold a raffle on September 16th, 2021 at Top Golf located at 2050 Progress Parkway. B, the motion would be to approve the request from Schaumburg AM Rotary Club Foundation to hold a raffle on October 16th, 2021 at St. Peter Lutheran Church located at 202 East Schaumburg Road and to waive the fidelity bond requirement. 2, liquor licenses. A, the motion would be to ratify the request from Mr. Tony LaFarine of Schaumburg Park District for one Class D liquor license for concert at the Cabin on Saturday, September 11th, 2021, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. at Spring Valley Nature Center located at 1111 East Schaumburg Road. B, the motion would be to approve the request from Mr. Tony LaFarine of Schaumburg Park District for 2 Class D liquor licenses for Trails and Ales on Saturday, September 25th, 2021, from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m., and Harvest Celebration on Saturday, October 17th, 2021, from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. at Spring Valley Nature Center located at 1111 East Schaumburg Road. C, the motion will be to approve the request from Ms. Karen Robles, Director of Transportation, for the Village of Schaumburg for 2 Class D one-day liquor licenses for Buffalo Creek Brewing and Itasca Brewing Company, Inc. for Hops and Props on Saturday, September 18th, 2021, from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. at Schaumburg Regional Airport located at 905 West Irving Park Road. D, the motion will be to approve the request from Ms. Heather Collier of St. Peter Lutheran Church for one Class D liquor license for Oktoberfest Trunk and Treat event on Saturday, September 26, 2021, from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. at 202 East Schaumburg Road. 2, proclamations. A, payroll week, September 5th through 11th, 2021. B, Schaumburg Business Association Day, September 14th, 2021. 3, Engineering and Public Works Committee. The motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Title V, Chapter 51, Section 51.075, prohibiting the use of groundwater for any purpose in the area at and around 800 West Gulf Road. B, The motion would be to award a bid for the Wintrust Field exterior painting project to the lowest responsible bidder, Capital Painting and Decorating, Inc. of Naperville, Illinois, in the amount of $137,590. C, the motion would be to authorize participation in the Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Agreement with OMNIA Partners for the Thoreau Pumping Station and Reserve Roof Replacement Project with Garland Design Build Solutions, Inc. of Cleveland, Ohio, in the amount of $354,133. D, the motion would be to authorize replacement 2022 Chevrolet Silverados through National Auto Fleet Group of Watsonville, California, in the amount of $116,891. E, the motion would be to approve a letter of understanding for the Bodie Road resurfacing improvements with the Village of Hoffman Estates and approve the required resolution. F, the motion would be to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Hoffman Estates regarding maintenance of Bodie Road in Hoffman Estates from Barrington Road to the Schaumburg Corporation limits and approve the required resolution. G, the motion would be to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 97 noises, Chapter 158 construction of utility facilities in the right-of-way, and Chapter 159 small wireless facilities of the Municipal Code of Ordinances. 5, transportation. The motion would be to approve an agreement for Phase 2 design services for Woodfield Road from Plum Grove Road to Meacham Road with Globetrotters Engineering Corporation of Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $578,689 and approve the required resolution. B, the motion will be to award a bid for the 2020 mid-block pedestrian crossing enhancements to Landmark Concrete Contractors of Elgin, Illinois, in the amount of $320,015.20. C, the motion will be to adopt an ordinance amending Title VII, Chapter 75, Schedule 75.09, permitting parking of the Schaumburg Municipal Code to permit parking on Bank Drive between 5 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. D, the motion will be to approve City Wings LLC application to operate a flight school at Schaumburg Regional Airport for the purpose of flight training and approve the required resolution. 6, Planning, Building, and Development Committee. The motion will be to approve an amendment to Municipal Code Title III Administration, Chapter 36 Amusement Surcharge, and Chapter 41 Village Fee Schedule, and Title 11 Business Regulations, Chapter 113 Amusement and Entertainment, pertaining to eliminating entertainment licenses and creating amusement licenses. B, the motion will be to direct staff to develop a plan and cost estimate for installation of wayfinding signs for Lou Malnati's and the Capitol Grill, and to pursue additional monument signs based on discussion with other potential businesses in the Woodfield Regional Center. 7, Plan Commission. The motion would be to approve a side yard setback variation, principal structure, room addition for 1500 Hartman Drive. B, the motion will be to approve a fence variation for 905 Hardwich Lane. 8, Zoning Board of Appeals. The motion would be to approve a special use for a daycare center for Arcarath Montessori School, 110 Hillcrest Boulevard, Hillcrest Commons. B, the motion would be to approve variations to the requirements for amusement entertainment establishment for Belong Gaming, 601 Martingale Road, Unit 173, Streets of Woodfield. 9, resolutions. The motion would be to adopt as resolution number 21-073, authorizing the village president and village clerk to execute a letter of understanding for the Bodie Road resurfacing improvements with the Village of Hoffman Estates. B, The motion would be to adopt as resolution number R21-074, authorizing the village manager and village clerk to execute an agreement by and between the Village of Schaumburg and Globetrotters Engineering Corporation for final design services of Woodfield Road from Plum Grove Road to Meacham Road. C, the motion will be to adopt as resolution number 21-075, authorizing the village manager and village clerk to execute an intergovernmental agreement regarding maintenance of Bodie Road in Hoffman Estates from Barrington Road to the Schaumburg Corporation limits with the Village of Hoffman Estates. D, the motion will be to adopt as resolution number R21-076, authorizing the village manager and village clerk to execute a license agreement by and between the Village of Schaumburg and City Wings. 10, ordinances. The motion will be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-084, granting a side yard setback variation, principal structure, room addition, 1500 Hartman Drive. B, the motion will be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-085, amending ordinance number 10-028 to correct a scrivener's error in the ordinance granting approval for an amendment to the Municipal Code Title 15, Chapter 154, Section 154.162, relating to floor area ratio in the R7 Single Family Residence District. C, the motion will be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-086, granting a special use for daycare center for Akarath Montessori School, 110 Hillcrest Boulevard, Hillcrest Commons. D, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-087, granting variations to the requirements for amusement and entertainment establishment for Belong Gaming, 601 Martingale Road, Unit 173, Streets of Woodfield. E, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-088, amending Title V, Chapter 51, Section 51.075 of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to the prohibition of the use of groundwater as a potable water supply in certain areas. F, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-08189, amending various sections of the Schaumburg Village Code relative to the permitting, regulation, and deployment of small wireless facilities, utility noise, and construction of utility facilities in the right-of-way. G, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-090, establishing the Nitty Schaumburg Development Special Service Area, District 211 property, in the Village of Schaumburg, Cook and DuPage Counties, Illinois. H, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-091, amending various sections of the Village of Schaumburg Village Code relative to amusement licensing and entertainment. I, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-092, amending section 75.09 of Title VII, Chapter 75, pertaining permitted parking, Bank Drive. J, the motion would be to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-093, granting a fence variation, 905 Hardwich Lane. This concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you, Village Clerk. I look for a motion to approve the reading of the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak?
Aye.
Trustee Clare?
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan absent. Trustee Dunham?
Aye.
Trustee Madej?
Aye.
Trustee Bishki?
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you. Committee reports. Zoning Board of Appeals, we have a recommendation to approve an amendment to Municipal Code. This is pertaining to public notice requirements, along with an ordinance to go with it if it should be approved. Who wants to take this one? Is this Julie, would you mind, please? Thank you. Give us the background. Sure. And then maybe we'll get Harry to come up and say hello.
At the request of President Daley, staff researched whether we could simplify the public notice signs that are traditionally put out when someone is requesting development approvals or some type of an entitlement, or typically relief or a special use from the zoning ordinance or in conformance with the zoning ordinance. As you know, our signs for many years have included the date of the hearing, the time of the hearing, and the full listing of what the request was. And particularly in the kind of hybrid and Zoom environment that we were in for a little over a year, some of those notices got extremely long. So staff did some research to see if we could simplify them. In your packets, you can have this, you'll see the survey results from other communities. The majority of them do simplify them. Some of them are very simple and they're smaller, more generic signs that can be made once and used multiple times. So we got some direction from Planning, Building, and Development Committee, then later Village Board concurred to do two things. The first would be to design a sign. There was a design that was presented to PBD and the Village Board, which was a more generic sign in line with our branding. And then the second thing was to process a code amendment through the Zoning Board of Appeals, because the requirements for public notices are within the zoning code. And so there was some discussion at the recent Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, and two recommendations from the Zoning Board of Appeals that were different than what was originally presented to Planning, Building, and Development and to the Village Board. Those two things are to change the look of the sign to incorporate some red into the sign. And then the other thing is to investigate whether kind of a changeable date can be put into the sign. Staff has discussed some of these with the village manager and included a summary in your packet. The sign was designed with our outreach and communications department with the branding basically that is being utilized throughout the village and that we're trying to build upon. And then so changing that would be inconsistent with that initiative. And then the second recommendation is the changeable date. And the changeable date is inconsistent with kind of the reason that we were doing this was that we would have just a few signs that can be stored by a sign company that can be used over and over and would be less cost for our applicants and for our businesses.
Okay, thank you. So just to add to that a little bit, I was approached by a couple of businesses that said it was rather expensive, and every time they approached a vendor to put together the signs, it was costing as much as $600 for a sign to be put out there. And I said, well, gee, that seems a lot of money, and do we really need to have all that information, et cetera, and all that? So that's what started us down this path, and staff then took a look at it and said, well, you know, we really don't have to have all that. A lot of communities don't, and ultimately we ended up with what it was, and it went through the path there. So, Harry, do you want to, Chairman of the Zoning Board, want to come up and just make reference? I think we got a good understanding here. We know what's going on, but anything you want to add or comment on?
Yeah, Harry Armandi, Chairman of the Zoning Board. Julie covered it very well. I mean, the only thing, and we certainly like the idea of this, all of us going around looking at the properties when they come up. So the only thought was that maybe red with the public hearing at the top, maybe a red background with the white lettering to make it stand out, so that it didn't look as so much as like a real estate sign or a sales sign of some sort in front of a business. And then the other was whether or not a date would be helpful for the people, because they could drive by it every day and then all of a sudden it's gone. Would the date be helpful? Or if they are that interested, then they would have to call the village or go to the website. So it's pretty, you know, it's up to you folks to decide what the final would be. Basically, though, it was a good idea that we all agreed on. So,
Thank Thank you. All right, comments from the board. Trustee Kozak?
Yeah, we went through this at PBD, and we covered up basically everything that Julie covered and Harry covered. In regards to the dates and that, we felt that if they're interested enough in the sign, they're going to call and make a phone call and find out what it's all about. The way it was before, you went by the signs that we had in the past, there was nothing but a blur. You couldn't read the things going down the road. I mean, there was so much verbiage on there. We felt that the brevity going into this was a lot better. It generated more interest from the people out there in the public going down the road, and it was a lot neater presentation for the village, we felt. Far as the date, like again, we just felt that they could go ahead and call in on that if they were interested in that particular parcel of property.
Anyone else? Trustee Dunham?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Frank. We talked about this, and I think I even brought it up to the village manager and so forth. This was in regard to a very text-heavy sign that was located at the corner of Martingale and Mall, or no, Woodfield Drive and Mall Drive, for that office building that's there. You had to come to a dead stop to even read it, and I think Frank makes a good point that nobody's going to do that in traffic, more or less. And I further agree that if they're interested enough, somebody's going to call. I have no problem with changing the colors to make it a little bit more noticeable and so forth, but my personal thought is that the sign that is in the packet here, this is what we ought to go with.
Okay. Anyone else?
Without a date.
Yes. I figured that. Anyone else? So zoning board had a concern, and they've obviously would like to see it modified. So we're looking for a motion from the board as to which way you would like to go. Anyone? I'll make a point here that the date is nice, but it doesn't tell you anything, and you're still going to have to call in anyways. You're still going to have to either call or go to the website to get that, so I'm not sure how beneficial the date would be, but whatever. Look for motion. Trustee Kozak?
Julie, when we were at PBD, we talked about the date portion, that they could put an insert where they could slide the date in and out so we could not have to have the sign painted correctly. So it would be a removable date. We could use the same sign, correct?
No, the recommendation was to go with a generic sign. Like, as you said, that wouldn't have the date. And so if someone saw it and they were interested, they could call, or I think there's an email on the sign as well.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and make the motion to go ahead and go along with the red because it's more noticeable and it draws more attention to the zoning thing or with the change that's for that particular parcel of land. And we'll leave the other portion go.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second at the board to include the colorization of red to the sign as recommended by the zoning board, but to not include the date as presented by the zoning board, correct? Further discussion, Trustee Bischke.
So just for clarification, we're only talking about the very top of the sign where it says public hearing to have a red background. The rest of the sign is going to stay as it is in the packet?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else on the board? Trustee Ramondi, did you have anything else? Or Trustee Ramondi, sorry. Chairman Ramondi. Maybe? Okay. Do we need a...
Yeah, so what I would suggest is that the motion to include the red border would be, the motion would be to accept the recommendation, but from the zoning board, but not as to the date, but to include it as to the red background, and to waive first reading and adopt as ordinance number 21-094, amending Title 15, Chapter 154, zoning of the municipal code pertaining to public notice requirements.
I believe we have the motion and a second to that.
Well,
So-
we had a motion in a second, but is it okay to
Yes.
amend it to include that information.
That's exactly what I meant, Lance.
Okay,
Yeah, me too, Lance.
just want to make
Okay.
sure we get it covered.
All right. Roll call?
Yes.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Clare.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan absent. Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madey.
Aye.
Trustee Bishki.
Aye.
Five ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item. Included both the item and the ordinance. Comments from the audience. This time, it's an opportunity to come forward and speak towards matters pertinent towards the village of Schaumburg. So if so inclined, please hold forth. Getting darker out quicker. Council report.
No report this evening. Thank you.
Okay. President's report. I do have 3 items. The first one is we have an award of $1.25 million. I'm not doing this. Oh, sorry. Okay, skip that one.
To be continued.
To be continued, yes. Next time. I had a note from someone that we had the passing of Canine Magic. Apparently, it must have been maybe a couple of weeks ago that occurred. And it's obviously one of the dogs used by the police department, and I remember them getting that dog, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, yep, coming here and showing us the dog and everything else. So, at any rate, the dog has passed, so that's kind of a sad event. I also have a nice letter I received here from McCullough's Pub, and I'll read that to Mayor Daley in the village of Schaumburg. My deepest sympathy to, my deepest appreciation to Mayor Daley and to the staff of the village of Schaumburg. McCullough's Pub and Billiards will be celebrating its 10-year anniversary this year, and it would not have been possible without the help from the mayor and the village. The COVID-19 small business grant that we received in December of 2020 helped keep us afloat after experiencing heavy losses due to the COVID-19 lockdowns. We had shut down twice in the past year, and without your help and the grant that was provided, it would have been difficult to stay in business. Thank you again for all your support. Larry Bodos, owner, McCullough's Pub and Billiards, and I've noticed they have been up and operating every day, so it's very nice. I'm glad to hear that there's a prime example of somebody who was very thankful to get the grants that you guys agreed to help provide, and staff worked on making it happen, so thank you very much. That's all for President's report. Manager's report.
I just have 2 items. First of all, congratulations to the Schaumburg Business Association on their 20th anniversary, which they are celebrating today. I had a very nice Good Morning Schaumburg program this morning, and it was nice to hear Brian Burke reminisce about the formation of the organization and some of the village's efforts and the village board's efforts to support the creation of that organization and have a chamber of commerce for the village. And it was also nice to have Brian mention Paul Evans, who is the staff person that helped that board kind of get established and move forward. So congratulations to Schaumburg and the village board and the SBA. And congratulations also to our own Matt Frank, who has been nominated for the SBA Leader of the Year award for this year. So he's one of 5 nominees. He's got some tough competition. I hear that DraftKings has Ragu as the odds-on favorite. So you got some tough competition, Matt, but we're pulling for you. So congratulations and good luck.
Okay, any new business come before the board? Any unfinished business? Seeing none. Trustee comments and mentions. Oh, we have 2 over here. Trustee, we'll go right down the line. Trustee Madey.
As you noticed at the beginning here, for a 1-day liquor license for the airport, there's a hops and props this next weekend. So look forward to seeing all of you and buying me a beer.
I think it's this weekend.
It's actually this weekend.
Coming week.
It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, and that starts at 5 p.m.
5.
Sounds great. Okay. Trustee Bishke.
That was my comment. I was going to put in a
Got
commercial
robbed.
for the Hops and Props. Come on out to the
Okay,
airport
all
and
right.
see some airplanes.
Okay, and I
drink
understand the
some beer.
weather's going to be great, so,
Yeah,
you know.
should
so it's
be a nice
perfect.
day.
Yeah, very perfect. Okay, anyone on this side? Oh, okay. So I'm going to look for a motion to adjourn into executive session in accordance with Section 2, subsection C, 6 of the Open Meetings Act regarding the sale or lease of village property and setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. I assume we will not be coming back.
Correct.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kozak.
Aye.
Trustee Clare.
Aye.
Trustee Sullivan absent. Trustee Dunham.
Aye.
Trustee Madey.
Aye.
Trustee Bishke.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Thank you very much.